those of you who are not veterans of Planet David, aka the Snyderverse, quick question. Any idea why this silly dude in a vest would get up in front of a room full of people and pretend to do karaoke? Because I'm a crazy freaking rubber? That's right. I should probably give you my disclaimer now. If politically incorrect language, colorful metaphors, swearing, or the word boobies offend you, get the fracking leave. We need deceit. The truthful is that this song is the most important principle that we teach. It reminds us of several important things. A, and this goes to the heart of today's talk, everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Everything else emotes or moves from there. How they get to that feeling, well, that's where things get interesting. But if you can change a person's body feelings, you can change their behavior. If you can change a person's body feelings, you can change their perceptions. And when you change perceptions and you change behavior, you change lives. Problem is, most of us don't know how to freaking do that. So they come to people like us, right? Resistance is absolutely a feeling. How many of us have ever encountered resistance? How many of you are freaking lying? That's another form of resistance. It's called denial, right? So I want to know how I can help you. Because there's a lot of you in here, and I'm assuming most of you are either aspiring to be practicing hypnotherapists or are, in fact, in practice. What are your biggest pain points? What are the things you're having the most challenge with in terms of resistance? I have a whole lecture planned, but the universe decided I was going to have to do it from memory. Because we're in the middle of Mercury freaking retrograde, right? But it's all good because this is something that I've become intimately familiar with both personally and professionally. So how many of you here are focused on working with clients and removing resistance? So the context would be hypnotherapy or some derivation of that. Okay. On a more personal note, how many of you are dealing with some form of resistance in yourself? Okay. I think we're in the right place. When we talk about resistance in a hypnotherapeutic context, some of the things I'm going to say kind of fly in the face of conventional wisdom. For example, how many of you, by a show of hands, have ever heard of this thing called a pre-talk? Okay. And how many of you in your pre-talk talk about all the myths and misconceptions about hypnosis? You realize that 90% of the things you talk about in that pre-talk, that client never freaking heard of? Until you mentioned it? Right? So yes, there may have one or two myths, but what I discovered clinically was that many times, the pre-talk primed them to be resistant. Okay? So I stopped doing it. I started teaching something else instead. In fact, it's not uncommon in my consultations and things like of that nature to not even mention hypnosis. Why? Mythology. People hear the word hypnosis, instant polarization, right? Well, if you'd like to cut out 50% of your resistance, stop saying the word hypnosis or hypnotherapy. Call it something else. Trust me, hypnosis doesn't care. Your client doesn't care until you mention the word hypnosis. What your client actually cares about is that they get out of your chair better than they got in. The only one who cares about calling it hypnosis or hypnotherapy is us. Because we want to be respected. We want to be recognized in the profession. How does that help your client? What's your job? Right? Part of the things we learn in neurolinguistic programming is this idea of meeting people or entering their model of the world. Everyone that you encounter is moving through the world with two versions of reality. One is very, 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 very unconscious. Okay? That's, for all intents and purposes, the way the world is. And then there's the other model of the world, which is a very, very edited, deleted, distorted, generalized, idealized model of the way the world is supposed to be. If you want to minimize resistance and or maximize the minimum, if you want to bypass resistance or minimize it, you have to figure out who you're dealing with. You have to figure out what's their model of the world. And how can I bridge that? So I want to share the first couple things about resistance removal can be distilled down to 2 plus or minus 1 word. Pay attention. Pay attention to what your client's wearing. Pay attention to what the words that they use. Pay attention to the gestures that they make. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Because the fastest, most powerful way to bypass resistance are the words coming out of the client's mouth. This is your first meta principle. Every human nervous system on the planet is prejudicial, biased, and looking for itself. Every nervous system on the planet is looking for itself. Therefore, the most powerful words any human being can hear at any given moment are the words that just came out of their mouth. The most powerful suggestions you can give to your client at any stage of the process are based on the words that just came out of their mouth. When I do a client intake and I'm listening to what the client is saying, all I'm doing is writing down what they say so that I can say them back over and over and over again. The reason for this, and this goes back to another meta principle that I want you guys, you can embrace it or not. This is what cooks the rice in our world. Whether you believe in a higher power, spirit, God, Buddha, whatever, which I do, by the way, but I can't find God in an anatomy book. And since we're indoctrinated into this scientific idea of if it's in an anatomy book, it must be true, I talk about the autonomic nervous system because we can't argue with it. We can't deny it, right? And everything about us comes from or passes through the autonomic nervous system, period. Even the things you think you're thinking about right now came from your autonomic nervous system first. Here's a sobering thought. Every piece of data you use to make a decision had to be vetted and passed through to your conscious mind by your unconscious mind first. You don't live in reality. You live in a carefully constructed hallucination and prediction. That's the neuroscience, by the way. If you want to check it, read How Emotions Are Made by Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett. And her newest one is called 7.5 Lessons About the Brain. Okay? She does the science. She's very controversial. She likes to poke other people's sacred cows, which is kind of what I like about her. Right? I'm a bit iconoclastic. So what does that mean and how do we use it? What the nervous system creates, the nervous system accepts. What the nervous system creates, The nervous system accepts. The metaphor that I use when we talk about this idea, because we're hypnotists, they come to us to give them suggestions. They rely on our creativity and our therapeutic expertise to give them what they want. Let's think about that. You're all very talented. You're all very smart people. So you should be able to figure this one out. And again, what I'm saying next, the energy work is kicking in. I've become very toxic to electronics for some reason. Metaphorically speaking, and you'll avoid taking this as any form of suggestion. But let's say one day I wake up with a horrible pain in my back, and it just keeps getting worse. And I go to the doctor, and I find out that one of my kidneys is bad. It's necrotic or some strange, bizarre thing. And it has to be removed. But the good news is, I have two possible choices. I'm really close to the top of the donor list so I can get a transplanted kidney. Yay. Or there's this brand new experimental technology. I can take healthy cells from my kidney and grow a new kidney. Which one's going to work? It's a trick question, I know it. Which one's going to work? Grow your own kidney? Whichever one you believe in? Well, historically speaking, if I take one kidney and I transplant it into somebody else, does it have a high chance of working if they're a match? So it'll work. The transplanted kidney will work. If I grow a brand new kidney from the person's own body, it'll probably work, right? Which has the greatest chance of being rejected? What the nervous system creates, the nervous system accepts. Our approach isn't to tell people necessarily what to do. It's to ask them how they want to do it. And when they tell you how they want to do it, because they came up with it, they'll accept it. And then you just have them keep doing it until they can't go back to the old way of being. That's called a convincer strategy. Convincer strategies come in two flavors. You have a specific set of visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory brain regions that you have to fire in a specific sequence before the nervous system will accept something, right? That's a very neurolinguistic-y approach. But there's another side to the convincer strategy, which is how many times do I actually have to do that, right? Now, if this were an NLP class, and by the way, I love NLP, even though it sounds like I'm being very critical of it many times. It's changed the course of my life. But it is a sad commentary that the most advanced communication model on the planet can't accurately describe itself without causing confusion. So in NLP, they would tell us about convincer strategies, and they would say, well, you have to elicit their convincer strategy, and then you have to figure out how many times they need to do it. You need to do it once, twice, 100. Some people are never freaking convinced, right? Or you can be a hypnotist. You say, what do you want instead? What might that be like? Keep doing that until you can't go back. Let me know when you're done. When you know you're done, test it. Try to go back and tell me what happens instead. Boom. Change is done. Why? Because every thought they think has a structure, and their nervous system created it. So just let them do it. Right? One of the most powerful things you can do with a client is not get creative. Because the answers will come out of them. Now, when shit goes wrong or it's not working, now you have full license to go creative. Right? But I wanted to talk about this whole idea of sameness first, because the identification principle, this idea that your nervous system is very selfish, it's very self-centered, it's constantly looking for a reflection of itself. And when it finds it, when it senses something like me, it orients on it. And orientation creates focus. Focus increases suggestibility. Suggestibility increases compliance. So the most powerful way to get the attention of the nervous system fast is to use the person's very own words as often as possible. And the faster and more consistently you use the order and sequence that those words came out of their mouth, the faster they pay attention. They will hang on every word. Okay, how many of you have ever been at a party? We need to get you out more. Right? Well, all right, let's pretend you're at a party. Or maybe you've had this experience, or you've seen this experience happen. You're at a very loud, noisy party, and you're off in one corner talking to somebody, and your back is to the room. And someone all the way on the other side of the room says your name. And it's like somebody reached over and tapped you on the shoulder, and it's like, why? Because your autonomic nervous system is constantly scanning your environment for things relevant to itself. Take it to the bank. I have. Right? So this idea of how can I make what I do, who I am and what I'm saying match them as possible is one of the most powerful influence tools you have. And whether you like the word influence or not, or persuasion or not, that's the business you're in. That's what people pay you for, to influence them. Let's do it really, really well. Make sense? So this is something I want you to embrace, and I don't want you to believe me. I want you to test me. I want you to take this principle, this concept of the echo technique, which I've been teaching for decades, and I want you to take it into your clinic, and I want you to watch the response it generates in your clients. Practice it on people who don't matter. I thought that one was funny. What I mean is, move through the world amongst humans in their natural habitat and just practice giving them their very own words back. And watch how many free desserts you get. Watch how many stalkers you pick up. Watch how many people just won't stop talking. So that's one of the beautiful things about the echo technique. As simple as it is, it primes people in a way that no other methodology does. When a person gets their very own words back, they feel heard. They feel understood. They feel validated. They have this sense that, oh, this person's just like me. It triggers identification. That brings forward the desire for increased self-disclosure. They start running off at the mouth, and that gives us all the information we need to navigate and find out where we need to go. In the intake, in social situations, in a job interview, anywhere. This is a universal thing. Therapeutically, how many people we got here who do some form of regression? Okay, how many of you have ever encountered this situation where you're regressing to cause, and you say, are you inside or outside? Inside. Daytime or nighttime? Daytime. Alone or with people? People. Look around, give me a report, tell me what's happening. I'm in a room. And then what happens? I don't know. Yes. I'm in a room, and then what happens? It's okay, so you're in a room, it's daytime or nighttime, you're in a room, and then what happens? If you use the and then what happens after you echo their words, the unconscious mind will provide the next link in the chain. Don't believe me, test it. Every time you hit one of those walls, repeat everything they set up to that moment, and then what happens? And the next piece will appear. If by some chance it doesn't, pretend you know. What is it? Because what happens, they have a block here, so the unconscious mind goes, "Root." That's what pretending does. It gives you an alternate route to the same information. Again, resistance bypassed. Okay? Pretending is like the cure-all of everything. People don't have to believe it. They don't even have to know. But if they pretend, you'll get the information you need to make the change. Okay? Is this useful? Yes. Okay. So, can we do something to eliminate even more resistance? Why, yes. And this is what we call, I apologize, I had, for some reason, all my OneNotes are just completely out of sync and nothing that I had prepared is available. So I'm going to have to write on the board. Is that okay? Yes. The first thing I do with every client in every consultation is what we call the 6 dynamics of an unconscious response. Yep, it's hypno thoughts.
This is a test.
It's Mercury retrograde. I'm used to this shit. Unconscious response. How many people here know the 6 dynamics? Just raise your hands. Don't shout it out. No spoiler alerts. Wow. Oh, this is going to change your life. Don't believe me, use it. Don't give them a pre-talk. Find out why they're there, how long it's been going on, when was the first time they noticed it, do whatever suggestibility tests or whatever you do, and then teach them this. A, the unconscious mind always answers first. Period. Usually non-verbally, but many times verbally. Unconscious mind always answers first. Second dynamic of an unconscious response, it always answers honestly. Notice I did not say factually, because your unconscious mind doesn't care about the facts. It cares about what it believes is true. And so we'll always tell you its truth, and that's the truth you work with. You want to generate resistance? Challenge that truth, which is what a lot of neurolinguistic programmers do, which is why they usually get kicked in the nuts, literally or metaphorically. Because for some strange reason, maybe it's a bias of the training or the type of people who are attracted to NLP, they like to think of themselves as the smartest person in the room. And because they're taught this thing called the meta model, which allows you to break apart people's unconscious structures and little fudges in their mind map, which, by the way, pisses people off, they often wind up alienating the very people they're trying to help or throwing them so far into confusion that the person stops trying to do what they're asking them to do. We're hypnotists. We're going to be a little bit more vague about things. So, what was I talking about before I went off on my rant on the meta model?
Always answers honestly.
Yeah. So, always answers honestly. So, don't challenge people's truths. Align with it. Align with it and navigate it from within. And that is what the echo technique allows you to do in any conversation, no matter how polarizing it might be. The moment a person starts getting their very own words back, their nervous system starts moving towards alignment and alliance. It's neurological. It can't not happen, right? So when the unconscious mind answers, it's going to answer with its truth. That's what you work with. Unconscious mind always answers first, always answers honestly, always feels like you're making it up. Always feels like, how many people came out of trance and said, I think I was just making that up? Yes, because the part of you that controls your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your neurotransmitters, your long-term memories, and your short-term memories is also the part that makes shit up. Right? Use it. Right? And I'm going to tell you when to use this as opposed to the optimal time to use it versus the suboptimal time. Unconscious mind always answers first. It always answers honestly. It always feels like you're making it up. You always have an urge to edit what just came up. This is a big deal. Very often, even though the person doesn't say it, this is what they're experiencing. You go back to the very first scene, situation, or event that is the source, the beginning, the root cause of XYZ problem. They came in to see you for a problem that happened when they were 35 years old. All of a sudden, they're in the living room at 3 years old watching their mom and dad argue, and the first thing that happens is, that can't be right. That's not it. That's not what I came here for. Sound familiar? Yeah. Now you have to backpedal and explain things, which sounds like you're defending your session, which increases doubt because you lost the frame. You guys understand what frames are? Here's a rule about frames that some of you may or may not know. If you have to defend your frame, you've already lost. There's no saying, rich people don't have to prove to you they're rich. The ones that are trying to prove that they're rich probably really aren't. It's a pretty consistent phenomenon. So you, as the hypnotist, have to control the narrative going on in the client's head from the moment they walk in, while giving them the illusion that they're completely in control of the situation. How do you do that? You set the frame by teaching them how to think about the things you know they're going to encounter in the session. The unconscious mind, you're going to read, is always going to answer them first. They don't know that yet. It's always going to answer honestly. They don't know that yet. It's always going to feel like they're making it up. They don't know that yet. They're always going to have an urge to edit what just came up. They don't know that either until you tell them first, before they experience it. It's never loud and it's never linear. So, repeat after me for emphasis. The unconscious mind always answers. It always answers. It always feels like. You always have an urge to edit what just came up. It's never, and it's never. Amen, brothers and sisters. Give me an amen. Amen. Take it to the bank. If you teach your clients this before the first session, if you teach it to them in the consult and right before you put them into trance, 80% of your resistance will go right out the freaking window. Why? Because you told them what might happen and what to do about it. And all of a sudden, they're going through this process, and the next thing you know, it's the something pops up from out of nowhere that they don't understand or recognize why it's there, and they want to go, oh, that can't be right. And, wait a minute, he told me that would happen. He knows what he's doing. I can trust the information. The 6 dynamics of the unconscious response allows you to trust the information you're getting. It allows the client to trust the information they're getting. And it doesn't matter if you're doing patient or therapist to client work or self work. How many people want to work on themselves? Is that why you got into this shit, right? To fix your own shit, right? If you're hitting a block in your work, there's 2 basic reasons. You don't know this. You're not using the 6 dynamics to interpret the information that you get, and so you wind up hamster wheeling. Here's what I mean when I say hamster wheeling. Right? Is this useful, by the way? Okay. So what happens a lot of times, so we all know that we have basically 3 levels to the brain, right? You have your limbic system, and then your paleocortex, your limbic system, and then you have this thing called the neocortex, right? The neocortex literally means the new layer. We call this the rational lying brain. It's the only part of your brain that thinks in words. And its job is to take pieces of information that bubble up from the deeper levels of the nervous system and build stories around them that have nothing to do with the truth. The rational part of the mind evolved to allow you to survive in societies and communities, to create stories to justify what you're doing so the other people don't kill you, right? It also evolved to create these stories so you can justify to yourself why you're doing what you're doing. How many people ever came into your session with righteous indignation, rage, you regress to cause, you vent the emotion, and all of a sudden, oh shit, I was responsible for that. Hamster wheeling is where a piece of information comes up, the unconscious mind builds a narrative around that. Something in that narrative reminds the brain of something else, and it triggers another narrative, which then triggers another narrative. And before you know it, you're hamster wheeling and going nowhere. Why? Because you're going laterally through there instead of going down into the deeper parts of the system. Unless, what came up first? And follow the 6 dynamics, and you'll go down. It's the most linear, it'll give you the most linear trajectory towards the source of the problem. When you're using the nervous system to elicit the resources you need to help them fix their problem, 6 dynamics apply. Okay? If we have time, we'll run through some little transformation drills using the 6 dynamics so you can understand how they work practically. But this sets the stage for you. Okay? Because it's going to perfectly match what the unconscious mind is going to do, how the unconscious mind provides access to information, and it shapes the narrative and the meaning that your clients assign to what's happening. Your resistance will drop. I promise you. But don't believe me, test it. Teach them this. Teach them at the end of the consult or during the consult. Go over it again right before you put them in trance. And when you start to encounter any kind of resistance, say first impression, right? Or remember your 6 dynamics, what came up. And watch their body physically, because the unconscious mind will answer a good half a second or more before the words come out. And you'll see that editing moment, right? In fact, I just did an interview for the Neuromastery Summit, and the lady running it was a very accomplished neurolinguistic programmer. And I was doing a color breathing spot where I said, point to where you feel it, what color is it? And the pause was there, and I knew she was editing. And she goes, it's blue. I said, what was it first? She goes, and it was purple, right? So I used both. Remember, if it came out of the client's mouth, it's gold. That's the secret. People don't resist themselves, ever. They may have a parts conflict, but that's not really resistance. That's just a battle, right? And they both want something positive for the person, right? So, unconscious mind always answers first. It always answers honestly. It always feels like you're making it up. You always have an urge to edit what just came up. It's never loud. It's never linear. Use their words. Now, in our systems, we have this thing called, we have this conversational framework. It's a model or a map that you follow that allows you to create maximum rapport, connection, and suggestibility in the shortest amount of time possible. If this is the scope of everything that there is in that model, I don't even have time for this. So I'm going to diagram it for you. And what I've done, and again, I'm having all kinds of tech problems today. So if you would, open your Whova app and type your name and email into my section on the Whova app, I will send you a link to all the material I'm talking about today, plus some special other resistance removal goodies that I was going to put together for you, right? So I'm going to give you a copy of tonight's talk, if that's okay. Okay, all right. But remember, go ahead and, while I'm writing this, go ahead and do that in your Whova app, right? It's a very simple map. Those of you who've been through my Killer Influence training will recognize it. Well, I'm kind of making this up as I go. So if there's a section in my version of the Whova app, is there a chat? Yeah, just put it in the question thing, and I'll go back and I'll have to do it by hand, but or I'll have Moss or Rumble do it by hand or something. But I'll put you guys on. I'll add you to my Kajabi platform where that course is going to live, and you'll have free access to it. There's no charge or anything like that. But I was going to have it I was going to have a QR code for you guys to scan, and yeah, retrograde hit. Life said, figure it out, Snyder. Right? Master Echo formula. And if you have questions about this training, you can also type them in the chat, and I'll make sure to answer them. Just like my YouTube channel, I've been a little slow with it lately, but after every webinar, every live stream that I do, I go back for that week. I just keep going back over the chats, and I answer the questions, and I point people at resources. So if you put a question in the chat, I will answer it. It may take me a little bit, but I will get to it, I promise. So we have the Master Echo formula. You have emotional bonding. You have resistance removal recipe. And then you have 3 magic questions. Now, I'll be very frank with you. You can learn all this on my YouTube channel. Well, the public versions anyway. And there's a reason why I keep teaching the same stuff over and over and over again. This is what cooks the rice. When you need movement now, this gets you there. This can turn the most resistant people into your most raging fans. And that's not a lie. I've seen videos of my students who are personal injury attorneys deposing expert witnesses for the defense. And the witness likes my client so much, they try to waive their attorney-client privilege to answer my client's questions. It is, and if you follow this, it is actually, on a neurological level, the most desirable fulfilling way for one human being to communicate with another human being. They will love you for doing this. Okay? So I'm gonna rapidly walk through this conversational framework and give you the premise behind it, what each one's for, and then I'm gonna drill down on the specific resistance removal formulas that we use. Okay? And again, there's a lot, but this one is one that's been proven in many, many different contexts. It did not originate, believe it or not, it did not originate in hypnosis. It originated in motivational interviewing for people who have basically sworn up and down and stood on a chair and said, I will not do this. And in 5 minutes, they're telling you why they want to do it. Okay? So the first thing is learn the echo technique and practice it. It's really simple. Just use their words. You don't need to match their volume. You don't need to match their tonality. You don't need to match their tempo. You don't need to match anything that NLP teaches you need to do, because that's what screws you up. Most people aren't great at matching tonality. They're not great at matching volume. It's incongruent. It's too much data. All that matters is the words. All that matters is the words. Now, when I'm teaching new people, and again, I'm not trying to demean anybody by saying newbies, but people who don't do this on a regular basis, who are just being introduced to this idea or this process as a standard operating procedure, I insist you learn to do it as much verbatim as humanly possible. Why? How many people have heard of this guy named Milton Erickson? I think he's a fad. Yeah. Anyway. How many people know what interspersal is? Okay, for those who don't know what interspersal is, I'm about to mangle it. But what Erickson discovered was that when he was working with schizophrenics, and maybe other people, but I think that's why Ericksonians tend to sound schizophrenic, because a lot of what Erickson did was modeled from schizophrenics. He discovered that certain words had deep emotional, logical meaning to these people, even when they were speaking word salad. And those words would somehow, some way, be unconsciously emphasized. And when Erickson used those words, the client responded in a very deep, profound way. You do this too. Beginners, I assume, and I'm making a very broad generalization, I just automatically assume you don't have the sensory acuity yet to spot those words, collect them, and use them. So I make you capture them all. If you capture all the words and you use all the words, you can't miss the words. Right? Now what will happen as you do this more and more and more, and people start, and again, when you start hitting them with this technique, they won't shut up. They'll start speaking in longer and longer and longer chunks, which means your brain is going to be stretched to remember bigger and bigger chunks of information, which helps you in the long run, because now it's going to create the ability to parse their language faster and remember their content deeper. So remember when I began this class, I said the most powerful thing you can do to remove resistance is what? What did I say before that? Pay attention. Because when people pay attention to us in a non-creepy way, we like it. Where attention goes, energy flows. It's a validating experience to that person. And that's what drives our boat. We're all moving through the world looking to be seen, heard, and accepted and approved of. Positive attention, using the echo technique, just the attention part will do it. When their words come back to them, it cements that experience in, and you get linked to it. They will think you are the most fascinating conversationalist they've ever had. 80% of what came out of during the conversation came out of their mouth. They did 99% of the talking. And they'll think it's all you. And they will hang on your every word. Make sense? Don't believe me, test it. Okay. So, once you have the basic echo technique, just understanding, use their words, use their words, use their words. Then we go into what we call the master echo sequence, or the master echo formula. The master echo formula goes like this. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably transcribe this and maybe have GTP make some notes for you or something. You ask your question. You pay attention to their response. You validate their response. So I ask a question. So I'm curious, what do you guys want to learn about resistance removal today? What do you want to learn about resistance removal today? How to do it? Excellent. And you know what? Learning how to do resistance removal, I think, is one of the most important things a hypnotherapist can learn. And just so I understand you better, if you were to learn how to remove resistance faster, what would that do for you?
Help me help my clients more.
Help you help your clients more. Excellent. How do you feel right now?
On the spot?
On the spot. How did it feel when my words came? How much of your words did you hear?
Oh, yes, I hear a lot of my own words.
See, she's in trance. I hear a lot of my own words. Right? All right. So the idea is that when that's what the master echo technique looks like. You ask a question. Say that again?
She heard all of her own.
Yeah, she did, right? So what's funny is there are some people in the room who can validate this. When I was teaching this in influence classes, somebody always stands up and says, does this really work? I said, you want to know if this really works? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, I want to know if this really works. And they say, well, if you want to know if this really works, just watch the people around you laughing at you. Because that's what happens. I'll go 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes just echoing their words, and we're just having a conversation. They don't realize I'm echoing their words. Because that's your biggest fear. You're afraid you'll get caught. Try it. Here's the secret to making getting caught irrelevant. Love your client. And here's what I mean. Let's assume for a moment that what I'm saying is accurate. That the echo technique is, in fact, the form of communication that the nervous system, the human nervous system, most desired and finds the most fulfilling, gratifying, validating. And you know that. And you choose not to do it. Who's the jerk now? Right? I'm not asking you to take my word for it. How many people have been using the echo technique? How many have? What have you seen, just as a group? It's nuclear, right? But here's what happens. Remember that the echo technique is designed to create rapport. It's designed to help you understand that person better and signal your desire to connect and understand them better. So if people call you on it and they say, well, why do you keep repeating my words back to me? It's because I really want to understand you better and I want you to know that I understand you. Is that okay? Now, if they say no, you got bigger problems, right? But who in their right mind is going to reject that? Somebody actually wants to take the time to understand me and let me know? That's where you're coming from with this. You're giving them the gift of being heard, understood, validated in a way that they can accept. Have I been talking for an hour already? Wow. Well, we'll leave it up to vote. You guys want me to keep going? Yeah. I don't see any freaking hands. All right. So let's talk about something a little bit more deeper, a little bit more direct. Every now and then, you're going to be somewhere in the world, and somebody's going to be at. How many people deal with smoke cessation? Aren't they fun clients? How many of them are showing up because somebody else wants them to show up? What do you do with those people? Send them away? What if you didn't have to? Tell me more. I got the smoke cessation people's attention now. All right, before I get into the formula, the actual recipe, I need to talk about resistance versus reactance. So you can write this down. We'll elaborate it on. We'll give you I did actually, like for my coaching students, I did like a 2-session training on just resistance. So I'll put that in your account when I get back to San Diego. Reactance, we call that the fracking factor. Okay? Dominic, stand up for a second. Reactance is the pushback or the psychologically or physically, whenever we experience influence, see how he wants to push back? Whenever we experience an attempt at influence we didn't ask for, that's not based on a belief system. That's based on the animal part of him. That's a neurological response. Anytime something threatens our sense of self-direction or autonomy, we push back, mentally or physically. You understand that? Reactance, have a seat. Reactance is actually the biggest problem that you face. But there's three other, in my world, this is how I organize it. There's three other types of resistance. Human beings automatically resist anything that threatens how they see themselves. Our sense of identity is sacred to us. And so if we receive an instruction, a direction, or a suggestion that forces us to go against what we believe is who we are and what we represent, we will push back. Okay? Again, I'm going to get a little, this is the only, I'm not going to give you those examples. I'm going to polarize somebody and then they're going to flame me and I'll get kicked out of Hypnothoughts. Wait, maybe I'll do that. Yeah. So, we inherently resist any suggestion, direction, or communication that challenges how we see ourselves. Category number 2, we inherently resist any form of communication, suggestion, or direction that threatens how we believe other people will see us. Right? There are things we'll do at home behind closed doors that we don't want anybody knowing about because of what they might think. Right? The things that challenge how you see yourself, you won't even do those behind closed doors. Right? So, threats to our self-image or how we see our self-concept or identity, threats to how we believe other people perceive us, threats to what we have considered to be true. Anything that we have considered as truth, we resist. Okay? So, if as a young whippersnapper hypnotist, I'm taught that this is a green triangle by my mommy. It's a red circle, by the way, I know that, right? If I'm taught that that's a green triangle, and then I go to kindergarten or I go to first grade, and my teacher's up there saying, David, or who here knows how to draw a green triangle? And I go, okay, David, come on up and show us a green triangle. And I go, the teacher goes, no, David, I don't have a green marker, so you'll just have to pretend. Well, actually, hold on. That's a red circle. This is a green triangle. And I go, My mommy told me that's a green triangle. Now, who's going to win that one? It ain't the kid, right? Now, will I eventually grudgingly accept that this is a green triangle? Yes or no? Yes. Will I be happy about it? In my heart of hearts. Right? We've accepted it as true, right? You've heard this many times. Whatever gets, the law of primacy says, whatever's been at the root of the unconscious mind, the longest and strongest becomes the hardest to change. Right? So, those are the 3 + 1 types of resistance that you get. How do we change it? How do we fix it? For you people who are going to, you're very welcome. For you people who deal with resistant type clients, people on substances, people who are, if you're working in rehabs, half the people in the rehab are there because the judge said so, not because they want to be there. So here's the first rule. The fastest way to get anyone to do the thing they told you they didn't want to do is to have them create their very own reason for doing it. The fastest way to get somebody to do something they just told you they did not want to do is to have them create their very own reason for doing it. How does that work? Well, let me see if I can actually pull it up so I don't have to keep writing it. Let's see what happens. Radical resistance. This is a whole big course I'm working on resistance, by the way. It has nothing to do with this. Well, it does have something to do with this training, but it's not the one I want. And by the way, I thank you all for giving me the extra time to do this. And hopefully I can I can reward you. You're very welcome. Thank you. Hopefully I will reward your trust. Yes, excellent. All right, so the reference material that you want for this particular protocol is called Instant Influence by Dr. Michael Pantalon. I believe he was a PhD out of Stanford. Excellent book. Now, I've taken that, I modeled this from Dr. Pantalon's work, and I've used it for things you couldn't possibly imagine. I've used a version of this exact formula to argue someone out of back pain. And I did it here at HypnoThoughts. And if you go to my YouTube channel and you type in instant conversational pain relief, you will see me take someone whose back pain is at a 4 and argue them down to 0. And they have no idea what I'm doing. Okay? Because the same parts of your nervous system that process physical pain also process subjective and emotional pain, which is the same part that processes resistance. See, I learned that in my martial art training in Systema. To the Russians, fear, pain, resistance, tension are all the same energy. So you can deal with them the same way. Okay, turns out they were right. The most important thing that you must do, and you must be good at this if you want this to work, is you must restore the person's sense of autonomy, their right to choose. In other words, you have to convince them that if they don't want to do something, you're going to help them not do it. That you support them, that you'll do whatever it takes to let them know, hey, I'm on your side. Why? Because the reason they're there is because somebody busted their stones to come in, and they're there for everybody else's reasons but theirs. And if you don't neutralize that, their body feelings they're in a highly reactant state. Their reticular activating system is tuned to look for attempts at manipulation. So they will frame anything that you say as an attempt to manipulate them. It's important. It's easily the single most important piece of the formula. You must convince them that they have a right not to do it, and you're going to support that right. I'm going to do a little one-on-one role play in a minute, but this is really important. The next thing is you need to soften your language. In other words, what are softeners? Well, just so I understand you better, I'm curious. I was wondering, you always precede any of these questioning protocols with those softeners. Why? Because it makes it less invasive, it makes it more organic, it makes it more gentle, and it lessens and neutralizes reactance. Remember, they're still, you're gentling them out of that reactive state. Okay? And you ask them, well, I'm curious, I'm wondering, if you were to want to do X, why might you want to do that? Now, I have a little bit more of that I flowered up, but I'm giving you the basic. If you were to want to do X, fill in the blank, whatever it is, why might you want to do that? The might has to be there. Because if you say, why would you want to do this? I don't. Right? Why might gives them freedom to imagine why they might do it without feeling like you're challenging them. Might is a really important word in this process. Okay? Why might you want to do that? They're going to give you a reason. You know what you do? You pay attention. You echo their response, or you validate their response, you echo their words, you ask the next question. Pay attention, validate the response, echo their words, ask the next question. See how the formula flows? It goes from just learning the echo to mastering the echo formula, so that just becomes the way you normally talk. And then you go right into resistance removal if you need it. Why might you want to do that? On a scale of 1 to 10, not 0 to 10. When I'm doing pain removal, it's 0 to 10. When I'm doing resistance removal, it's 1 to 10. Right? Because if I give them 0, how much on a scale of 0 to 10 do you want to do that? 0. Can't work with that. But even if it's 0.5, say, well, okay. Why so much? Why didn't you rate that less? And they're going to go, what? Let me repeat the question or the statement just so you heard. Why so much? Why didn't you rate it less? And they're going to give you that double take because they're expecting you to challenge why I don't want it more. Well, now, wait, what? And you'll see the cognitive dissonance, right? The moment you ask why so much, why didn't you rate it less, they have to defend why they want it. Here's the principle. The rationalization that gets challenged gets stronger. No, David, that's a red circle. Why so much? Why didn't you realize? What do you mean, why didn't I rate it less? Because, and they're going to give you the reason why they didn't rate it less, which causes them to want to do it more. They resist you in the direction of change. Okay? From there, it's really, really simple. Can you guys see in the back? Ooh, it's retrograde, all right. All right. I'm probably going to get shit for going longer, you know that, even though you asked me to. But that's okay. If you were to want to let me go longer, why might you want me to do that? Anyway, right? It works. I helped a guy get over a breakup with this, right? I was shooting a video at a local diner or something, and I could see the guy we got into a conversation about hypnosis, and said, can that help me get over my girlfriend? And I said, well, let me ask you a question. If you don't want to get over if you don't want to get over your girlfriend, you don't have to. You can go on to that forever if you want to. But I'm curious, I'm wondering, if you were to want to move on for all the right reasons, your reasons, why might you want to do that? And he starts talking about this, that, and the other thing, and I listen, I echo, and I validate. I say, well, let me ask you something. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much might you want to do that? He goes like 9. Oh, really? Why so much? Why didn't you rate that less? And he's like, well, because I want to be free. And he starts going off. What's the next step we need to go to get started? Well, I guess I need to go out dating. He starts getting out his Tinder app and shit. Right? He thanked me. Right? Is it really that fast? Yeah. It really is. Now, this is where things can get a little dicey. I call this concept no blips on the radar. I'm not sure if this is a good metaphor. How many people here have ever gone fishing? Okay. How many people have no idea what fishing even is? Right. So, common newbie thing. When a person's first learning to fish, you have this little thing called a bobber, and below that is the hook with the bait, and you throw the hook in the water, and then the fish comes, and they're nibbling around the bait, and then maybe they might give a little taste or something like that. And if they give a little, they're just testing it, you'll see the bobber go bloop, bloop, and the newbie fishermen, the moment they see the bobber go bloop, they go ring, and they rip the bit right away from the fish. Right? That's a blip on the radar. But the seasoned fishermen, they'll just wait. Blip, 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 bing, right? And they set the hook, right? It's not fun for the fish, but our job is to help people in whatever way we can. So what happens a lot of times with this is you get to that point where, so what's the next step we need to take? And they say, well, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And you say, okay, let's go ahead and get started on that. But that's not what happens. They go, okay, let's go do that, right? And they change their state. All of a sudden it breaks their state, and they start analyzing what just happened, and they can flip back to what was going on, if that makes any sense. So, okay, awesome. And I repeat their words. When they give me the reason why they didn't rate it less, I'm going to echo it. I'm going to validate it. I'm going to repeat it back to them. What's the next step we need to take to move forward? Well, I probably need to schedule an appointment, or we need to do a session. Well, okay, go ahead, sit down. We'll do that. We'll get that done. Just no blips on the radar. Very matter of fact. Great person to model for this, Scott Sandlin. Scott Sandlin can tell the biggest whoppers on the planet, completely deadpan, matter of fact, no blips on the radar. You have no idea he's making it all up. He's really good, right? He just has that very matter-of-fact personality. That's what we want for the close. Whatever they tell you is the next step they need to take, that's what you do. Now, that's the basic formula. We have an even more advanced one called a criteria lock, right? And that goes to what we call emotional bonding. People can't talk about the things they most want and need and desire emotionally. They can't talk about their emotional needs without experiencing intense desire and pleasure. So what you can do, and again, that's more advanced, but what you do is when they ask, why so much, why didn't you rate it less? Or if they say, why might you want to do that? And they give you a reason. Well, what's important about that? The moment you ask them what's important about that, they tap into their value. And they link their value to what they just said. And now you use that during the rest of the formula, scale of 0 to 10, or 1 to 10, how much, and all of a sudden, they just feel driven to do it for deep level emotional needs. We're not going to talk about that, but I mean, we're not going to teach it, but that's another thing you can do, and it works really, really well. So what I want to do in the time that we have, how much time do we have? It's an interesting question. I actually have a client at 11:15, so I can't stay too much longer. Let me act this out for you, and then we'll do one as a group, just so you can feel what it's like. Is that okay? All right. So, smoke cessation client. We'll call him Louis. Say, hey Louis, how you doing? Oh, hey Doc, how you doing? So what do I got to do? I need you to help me. I need you to make me quit smoking. That's the first red flag. The minute somebody says, oh, you're a hypnotist, I need you to make me X. 99% chance they don't really want the change. They're doing it because somebody else is busting their stones, and they don't want to do it. So that's the first thing that has to happen. I need you to make me quit smoking. Oh, really? So, do you want to quit smoking? Well, you know, my wife's on my case. My boss tells me I smell like an ashtray. They make me stand outside. And I'm just tired of the BS. I just need you to make me quit so I can stop hearing it. It's like, oh, so you want me to make you quit so you can stop it? So they'll leave you alone. Yeah, can you do that? Louis, let me explain something to you. When you walk in that room, I'm your guy. I work for you. And if you don't want to quit smoking, I'm not going to even try to make you quit smoking. Okay? If you want to enjoy smoking more, I'll help you do that. If you want to come in, work on something completely different, go home and tell them the smoke thing didn't work, I'll help you do that too. My job, when you walk in that door, is to help you get what you want, not what everybody else wants, not what your wife wants, not what your coworkers want, not what your boss wants, what you want. I'm on your side. So you tell me, true or not true, you don't want to quit smoking. Well, not really. I kind of like it. All right, I get that. And so we're not even going to try that. We're not even going to try and make you quit smoking. But I am curious about something. I kind of pull a Columbo here. Just one more thing, right? I'm curious, Louis. If you were to want to quit smoking, like not for the wife's reasons and not for the boss's reasons or the coworker's reasons or even anybody else's reasons, for Louis's reasons, why might Louis want to quit smoking? Well, you know, I am getting kind of short of breath. Like, my kids are young yet, and I want to kind of play with them, and I could probably use the money. I'd probably be, play with my kids and, be healthier and save some money. Oh, so you're a little short of breath? Want to play with your kids more? Save some money? I get that. That's cool. So I'm curious, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much might you want to play with your kids more? How much might you want to save some money? Well, freaking 5 or 6? Wow. 5 or 6? That's a lot. Why so high? Why didn't you rate that less? What? Why so much, Lou? Why didn't you rate that less? Well, because it's my health, dude. I want to live a long time so I can see my kids graduate and play with my grandkids, and I can always use more money. We know that. You're right. So I'm curious, just so I understand you better, Lou. Play with your kids, grandkids, live longer and make more money. What's the next step we need to take to move forward? I guess I got to quit smoking. All right. Have a seat. Right? So just for fun. Now you've seen the protocol. You've watched me act it out. Think of something you don't want to do. Something small, so I don't have to do any deep mind surgery on you and freaking, but something that maybe you've been putting off, don't want to do. All right? So you're going to have to fill in some of the blanks as I do this. And understand something, that I can't make you do anything. That's not my job. My job is to help you do the things you really want to do. So if people are busting your stones or breaking your back or on your case about something that you just don't frickin' want to do, I'm not going to try to make you do it. I'm going to help you not do it more if that's something you want to do, right? If that makes you happy, because that's my job. My job as your teacher, your mentor, your guide. It's to guide you through a set of processes that make your life better by your standards, by your definitions. So I'm not going to try to make you do anything. I am curious, though, if you were to want to do those things for your reasons, because it would improve your life experience, your way. Not your boss, not your kids or your customers or whatever, you. Why might you want to do that? Think about it for a moment. Why might you want to do it? And then as you're thinking about it, a scale of 1 to 10, how much might you want to get that done? And as you're thinking about that, whatever number popped in there, right? Why did you rate that so high? Why didn't you rate it less? And what's the next step we need to take to move forward? How soon do you want to get started? What just happened? Did your desire to do it go up? Did you start coming up with all the reasons why it's going to make your life better? What happened when I challenged you? Why so much? Why didn't you rate it less? Yep. That's it. Whatever. Again, it doesn't matter if they give you a 0.5 on a 1 to 10. As long as there's a positive number, you can work with it, and they will act. Okay? It's really that simple. You just have to be authentic with it, right? If you view the things I teach you as a trick, then your nervous system will express them differently than if you're coming from a true desire to help and connect and move people forward. Okay? I've used this with my kids millions of times, right? I've used this in sales. It's part of my consultation process. When I'm going to close them, I give them immense pleasure, tell them the price, then hit them with resistance removal, right? Right? It's part of my close. So here are the steps. A, first and foremost, you must know the echo technique. Technically you don't, but that's what makes it bulletproof. Restore personal autonomy. Reaffirm that you're on their side, that you're going to help them regardless of what they choose, and make them believe you. I can't stress how important that is. Make them believe you. Okay? Soften what you do. Right? Things like, I'm curious, I was wondering, just so I understand you better, let me ask you this, as a preface or an intro to your questions. I'm curious, I'm wondering, if you were to want to do X, why might you want to do that. The might must be there. Okay? That's the one thing you can't fudge. Okay? Oh, wonderful. You affirm. Oh, so scale of, this, so you want to do it for this, this, and this. I'm curious, I'm wondering, a scale of 1 to 10, how much might you want to do that? They're going to give you a number. Master echo formula. Pay attention, validate the response, echo their words, ask the next question. Why so much? Why didn't you rate it less? Pay attention, validate the response, echo their words, ask the next question. There's only 2 possibilities that I use. It's the hardest close I do. What's the next step we need to take to get started? How soon do you want to how soon do you want to get started? That's it. I don't ask, do you want to buy it? Do you want to do it? I don't ask that. I ask, what's the next step we need to take to move forward? How soon do you want to get started? They're going to tell you. Okay? That's resistance removal recipe. Works everywhere, right? But it presupposes that you can actually get them to talk to you and pay attention. So you got to have good rapport skills, or at least a high enough level of authority in their world that they feel compelled to listen, right? But get really, really good at reaffirming people's right to choose and that you're on their side. Everything else gets really, really easy after that. And to quote Forrest Gump, that's about all I have to say about that. All right, well, I'm happy to take questions. Normally I have a raffle, but my printer broke. So yes, a microphone for the lady. Hold on. I have 2 microphones, one for each side.
Thank you. So,
So on the close after that, though, I'm guessing you want to get payment right then and there.
Well, usually when they hit my chair, they've already left their card with the front desk.
Okay.
Right? But yeah, however you take payment is how you do it.
Because even with this, if they can still flip afterwards.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Well, usually when I'm doing this as a consult, what I'll say is, what's the next step we need to take to move forward? Well, I guess I need a book appointment. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's go ahead and walk, and I'll walk them out,
Yeah.
and I'll say, Kelly here will take care of you.
Yeah.
Right? And she'll take care of all that.
And
right?
so it's done. It's not
Yeah.
like next
Once
week you
they're
come
in motion, they're in motion.
and you keep them in motion.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I had a question about a client who had colon cancer, is about to do her 5-year thing, and she has the thought, what if it's back? And she doesn't want to have that thought.
Mm-hmm.
So using that technique,
Mm-hmm.
I would be echoing her desire to not have.
Yeah, I would say to her, look, listen, this is your body. This is your choice. And I support you whatever you want to do. If you don't want to know if that cancer's back or not, okay. But let me ask you a question, just so I understand. If you were to actually want to know if you were healthy or not, and have that peace of mind, scale is 0 to, why might you want to do that?
Well, she does want to know.
Mm-hmm.
She's worried about that thought. She wants to get that
She wants to get the thought out of her head.
that thought of that fear.
Uh-huh.
What if it's back? Because she knows that's connected to.
Okay, that's a different intervention. That's not resistance, that's a trauma.
Okay.
So point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, frame it, spin it, color breathe it, it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a different intervention.
Thank you.
Mhm.
From 1 to 10, client respond is 1.
Mhm.
What?
Why so much? Why didn't you rate that less?
Because it's the lowest number you gave me.
Because of the lowest number you gave me? Okay, so if you were to want to do it, and what's important about that?
Okay, I got the response. Another one, can I do it remotely?
Oh, 100%. You can do this any place language is involved.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can do it in email, you can do it over text, you can do it over video. Yeah, as long as you can communicate through words, it'll work. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, so, oh wow, that's very loud. When you ran through it on the group scenario, I genuinely couldn't think of a single reason for myself, which, for starters, a lot of soul searching to do there, and I intend to do that, but it did come up with 2 questions regarding actually using the protocol, which is, first of all, is there a limit of scale or a certain type of forms of resistance or put up to that works best for this? Because this is a pretty big decision that I've already been halfway underway through, so maybe it doesn't.
What you would probably have to do is you'd have to go into the criteria lock, which is a values exploration. So when you think about that thing that you didn't want to do and you think about the reason why you might want to do it, what's important to you about that?
I'd say I would value, yeah, okay.
Right? The moment you hit them in the values, they can't go against their own value without experiencing emotional pain. That's the secret to value and emotional bonding. Right? I say emotional bonding because if I say criteria and values, people don't know what the fripp I'm talking about. Right? But we move through this world with this idealized checklist. That checklist equals our values. Right? When the checks are when the boxes are checked, the body generates a feeling and we give that feeling a name. That's our value. Right? Like security, freedom, love, right? Well, there's ways that we know we're getting that. That's our checklist. The moment we have that, the body generates the feeling and we feel like life is worth living. That's what you do. And that's what I started to do with her. The moment she, well, that's the lowest I get. Well, let me kind of, she gave me an answer, right? Why she might want to do it. What's important to you about that? Boom. Right to the values. And they can't go against their values without experiencing emotional pain. They won't do it. Conversely, you can't violate another person's values without them wanting to target you and burn your house down and all kinds of crazy stuff. So if you need people to go away, figure out what their value tree is and just violate it. They'll leave like a frickin' rocket, but they'll remember your ass, right? So it works both ways. Does that help?
Yeah, it's just a second question as well. Of course, you said the main underpinning of this is that genuine desire to actually restore the autonomy. Have you at any point had to genuinely work on something else first or go in another direction first and return?
Yeah, what happens, one of the things you'll encounter, and this is something that I hear it from therapists a lot. I've encountered it early in my career and I figured it out, but there's often a confusion of, I call it now a confusion of presenting problems. Every now and then you'll get a client who you're like the 25th person that they've been to, right? And what happens is it went away and it came back. And during the intake, they'll talk about their problem and how it went away and they're just terrified it'll come back. And most therapists will discuss all the reasons why hypnosis works, and you're going to give them a conscious validation of the effectiveness and why you're going to be different. Oh, I don't have the time. You're talking to the neocortex, the rational lying brain. Their problem isn't rational. It's irrational. Irrational problems require irrational solutions. But the problem is you. Because the presenting problem is not the thing that keeps coming back. The presenting problem is the fear. Fear is a prayer for what you don't want. Fear is a negative manifestation engine. So if you don't deal with the fear at the root, and you deal with what you think is the presenting problem, that will bring it back. So dissolve the fear first, and the change is more likely to stick. Yes?
Well, no, just yeah, it's fine. I don't need the microphone.
But the video does.
Oh, no, this is for,
Oh.
I said the QR code was up for the round.
Oh, okay. So, okay, he's going to do that weird stuff. Well, the people who left early are going to feel a little silly because they missed out on something cool. So we have this program called the Mondo Supremo I Want It All package. It includes 2 live events, your choice of any 2 full-length video courses, and I think like 3 to 5 smaller video courses. It's worth about, what, $7,000, $8,000, Moss?
At this point, yeah. I think,
Yeah. So the reason I'm telling you about it isn't because I'm trying to sell it to you, it's because some of you are going to win it. That's part of our raffle, right?
And there we go.
So scan your QR code, and then what do I do with it?
So you're going to scan the code, you'll put in your name and your email and your phone number, and then you'll be in the raffle.
And are we going to do the raffle right here, or am I going to let them know by email?
I think it'd be easier by email at this point. We could do it now if you want. It's up to you.
How does that work?
So,
Well,
like,
I mean, how do I randomly pick a name on off a list?
we can use like one of the
You know
AIs
what?
to randomize
We'll
it.
just email you. So whoever sends me the biggest check will win the raffle. All right. So go ahead and scan, and then I'll give you a couple more minutes for questions, and then we'll, I guess we'll call it a day, or hang out, or do whatever. Yes, Gina.
Is that a way that I know that you can do it, and I've seen you done before, to show from the beginning how you start conversation and finish it with a session like in 10 minutes? Is that what you say?
I'm not sure. You want me to do another role play?
You should step up there and get demoed.
Come on.
I wasn't thinking about me, but
All right. Well, I need a chair. Pardon me. All right. So, I guess you will put.
help one person out, so we can, but I understand a volunteer.
Have a seat, Gina.
Okay.
All right. So, Gina, thanks for coming to see me. What seems to be the trouble?
I wanted to.
Oh, we need a microphone for her.
That's right. The problem. Oh, wow. Now everybody will know about my problem. Okay, that's fine.
It's HIPAA compliant. Sorry.
I know that I have to do it, but some resistance in me, and I'm not sure what it is. I wanted to start finally organize myself and exercise and do the proper, lifestyle.
That sounds like 5 or 6 different things.
I know.
Maybe the problem is you're just trying to do too much too quick.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I'm curious. If there was one that was an absolute priority, what would it be?
Exercising.
Exercising? Well, why do you want to exercise?
For my health, for also to make sure that I have more energy.
More energy.
And the longer lifespan, a healthy one. I don't want to be a sick person, for example. I want to see my kids graduate and be there for them. So a lot of reasons.
You sure?
Yeah.
Well, because look, you haven't been doing it, right? So maybe you really don't want to do it. And if that's true, I'm going to help you not do it.
I think I want to do it.
Oh, okay. So just so I understand you better, why? Why might you want to do that again?
For better health.
Better health?
To have more energy, and I get not getting age fast. And
Not getting
being
age fast.
healthy.
I know about that, trust me. Gina, listen, look, I'm here for you. Whether you want to do something or you don't, I'm going to help you facilitate that either way. And just so I understand you better, scale of 1 to 10, how much might you want to do all those good things for yourself?
10?
10? Why so much? Why didn't you rate that less?
I think this is the one thing that's the most important to me. I'm doing everything for everybody else.
You're doing everything for everybody else.
And I want to do something for me
Are you ready to do something for you? How soon do you want to get started?
now.
All right, go for it. Does that help?
Very good. Very good.
All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
For all of you, thank you.
All right, could you see the nonverbals?
Yes.
Right? So if you go to the video, you'll see me do almost a very similar thing with the lady I bring up, who's also a hypnotist, by the way. I said, I don't believe you. I think it's actually worse, and you're just trying to pretend like it's only a 4. It's like, no, it's a 4. Really? What is it now? 3? Really? I bullshit. No, it's really a 3. Oh, really? Yeah. Check in. What is it now? What are you doing? That's really what she says. I'm not doing anything. I'm not any kind of wizard. And she goes, you're some kind of wizard. I go, no. And I went, you'll see. Now, the only thing about that particular video is I wasn't supposed to be in that room. It wasn't hypnothon. I got in trouble. But what happened is I did an energy healing, a rapid healing seminar, and I said, if you guys happen to find a room that's empty that nobody's using and you guys want to continue the training, if I just happen to wander in there, they found a freaking room. And I didn't have a Rumble at the time, so I just set up my camcorder, and so I had camcorder sound, no mic or nothing. So the audio is going to be a little quiet, a little noisy, but you'll be able to see me do you'll literally watch me argue her out of pain. Right? It works. It does work. Now, again, that wouldn't be my first choice for physical pain. I'd spin it, or I'd color breathe it, or magic frame it, because those are just nuclear. Right? But I was doing a conversation hypnosis class once. I have 3 people with tinnitus. I cured 2 of them with this. I literally argued them out of tinnitus, right? But again, I wouldn't do that because most people with tinnitus don't want to hear something. Right? All right. That's all I got. God bless you. Love you. Keep an eye on your email for the winner for the raffle. I'll probably pick 3. So. Please, if you enjoyed the training, please tell everyone. We got another one tomorrow in the afternoon, I believe. If you didn't enjoy the training, tell them you went to Guzzo's. Right? That's for me, yeah. I have clients all day.